Hello everyone. I'm giving a short do-it-yourself hardtop hoist fix that I made, and I made the hoist itself for less than $100. These sell for this T bracket is homemade, of course, but the same version of this is sold. The manufactured version of it is sold online for anywhere from $300 or $400 to as much as $700. So I bought this Super Strut conduit strut. This is, I know you're gonna have a hard time finding this. I got this at Home Depot in the electrician's section. It's usually in the last wall where all the wiring, like for buying, for electricians who need to wire and buy plugs and all that. It's in that area by the conduit. This came in a 10-foot piece. I cut it, I believe, let's just say for practical purposes, this is 4 feet, and this T part up here is 4 feet, and this is 6 feet, and that's all you'll need. You don't need it to be much longer than that. So I was able to do that, and this strut before I cut it was $20. And in that same section, you can see here it's called a Super Strut, and in that same section they sell the bolts that go through this T bracket into the strut. And what I did though, if you can see, some of these bolts don't have Super Strut on them. That's because I had to go out and buy stainless steel bolts that were a little longer, but not long enough to poke out the bottom, but to make it through this extra ½ inch. Because what I did with this T strut, you can see the T ends here. I wanted to reinforce it further so it was stronger. And so right there in the same, where this is a Super Strut T, this is a Super Strut plate, this is a Super Strut plate. I just put a spacer there so that I could bolt it and reinforce this T to make this stronger, because this does carry a significant amount of load. Now my hardtop for a 2001 Jeep Wrangler on the heavy end is 150 pounds. I would say it's about 140 though. So this is overkill. This is more than strong enough. I also bought these 300-pound load clamps, the ones that screw closed, to add onto the end of the holes so that I would get a secure lock. And then what I did, instead of just hooking it, I ran the rope through the actual eye of the strap hook on both sides, so that I was doing had a better secure connection. And then on the back, what I did, because this is a little tricky to get this part to not move so much. I haven't quite figured it out, because this is not that much of a space, but nothing works right. So I still got to figure out how to do this. But what I did was I took the short end of the hook off of a strap. As you can see, I took the pin off, and that was held, right here. That was held right here. I took the pin out, and that's how I got that short strap with the hook. And then I put a 400-pound spring-loaded clamp here to get a good connection, and it hooks right to the underneath of the door. It goes right where there's a lip that's plenty strong to hold that hook in place. And then I have a large eye bolt here. Again, it has to be short enough not to come out the other side so it doesn't damage your hardtop. This is a 360-pound spring-loaded clamp, and all those parts cost me about $100. And like I said, that's way more expensive when you buy it from the manufacturer for essentially the same thing. The only thing I don't have is this. I gotta still work this out, but this works plenty good. I was able to get this thing off as a one-man job. Now to hoist it, I tried to use pulleys, but when that's under load, getting those pulleys to release is tricky. So I went ahead and got myself a pretty cheap Harbor Freight 2,500-pound traveler winch, and then I repurposed my children's really old playset. Man, this is from years ago. It's just been sitting behind the garage. I pulled it out. It's a little short, so I put these these 4x4 or 6x6 support blocks underneath it. They're not going anywhere. Now my daughter's Jeep, this is my Jeep. My daughter's Jeep is lifted, so hers is going to be a little too tall for this. So what I'm going to do, just so I don't got to rebuild this thing and spend more money, I'm going to use some of these garden bricks that I have extras of, put them underneath the 4x4 blocks, and then I'm going to glue them together with this liquid nails, just to raise it by another 2 or 4 inches, probably 4 inches. And then I went to Home Depot, and they sell these batteries. If you don't have a battery laying around like I didn't, I went out and bought this lawnmower engine, which is plenty strong. And then I just used these little clamps to make the connection, Harbor Freight again, to make the connection between the battery and the power cords for the ones, and I zip tied the cord, and then I duct taped everything. But this thing should be, I also got that 4x4 on clearance. As you can see, it was broken, like splitting, but for my purposes, it will work just fine. And then again, at Harbor Freight, I lowered it onto these, $7 or $8 little carts, and then I'll roll it to where I'm going to store it later. I hope this is helpful. I know it helped me. It saved me a lot of money. A lot of us have these things laying around. We haven't used them. So I'm pretty happy with it. It does turn this hardtop lifter into a one-man job. Very simple to use, easy to store. And that's really just held up by 3 bolts. So when it comes winter time, I'll just pull the bolts out and put it back in the garage and store the plaything. And maybe next year I'll rebuild this so it's just a little taller. But I hope that was good for you. Again, this 2001 Jeep Hardtop, but this T-rack that I bought will work on just about any hardtop. You can also wrap it in pool noodles or rags, whatever you want to do. So if you want to protect your hardtop, mine's got to be restored, so I'm not worried about it right now. But eventually I'll soften it up. Hope this was helpful.